He buried bullets one by one into the ground, turning them into pressure-triggered landmines. Then he gathered even more bullets, collecting the gunpowder from inside to create tons of explosives that he positioned around his farm. To detonate the bombs, he dug a trench across the property and filled it with massive amounts of gasoline. He then installed detonation devices along the enemy's inevitable path and covered all the traps with grass. However, to eliminate his enemies, the underground tunnel traps would be the most crucial part of his plan. First, he modified a double-barrel shotgun to the right length and mounted it at the tunnel entrance. Next, he sharpened countless steel rods to razor-sharp points and positioned them in deep pits throughout the tunnels. For the tunnel ceiling, he secured wooden blocks studded with steel spikes. Finally, he carved numerous small holes around the tunnels, so he could attack enemies from the shadows at any moment. He had to memorize the exact location of every single trap, because there were so many that even he could accidentally trigger one if he wasn't careful. If any enemy happened to avoid all the traps by sheer luck, they would face his compound bow cranked to maximum draw weight. To ensure his enemies had no escape route, he also installed claymore mines and C4 explosives throughout the tunnels. Unlike his previous battles, this time Rambo wasn't fighting for survival. He was fighting for revenge. He was determined to turn this place into his enemy's graveyard. But what kind of enemies could drive a nearly 70-year-old Rambo to such extremes? It all came down to his daughter. After retiring from service, Rambo never married or had children of his own. It wasn't until he was 50 that he adopted a daughter. But when she grew up, she insisted on going to Mexico to find her biological father. Rambo warned her not to go, telling her that her father was nothing but scum. But Lisa completely refused to listen and stubbornly insisted on finding that scumbag, never realizing this trip would cost her life. Eventually, with help from a friend in Mexico, Lisa managed to track down her biological father. However, just as Rambo had warned, the man was completely heartless. Simply because Lisa was a burden to him, he had abandoned her, and her mother had been beaten to death by this same man. Learning all this devastated Lisa. To cheer her up, her friend decided to take her to a nightclub to unwind. This turned out to be the beginning of Lisa's nightmare. As soon as they arrived at the bar, Lisa caught the attention of a strange man who secretly slipped drugs into her drink without her knowing. When she woke up again, she had been taken to a human trafficking den where endless torture awaited her. A day and night passed, and his daughter still hadn't returned. Rambo grew extremely worried, so he grabbed his weapons and drove alone toward Mexico, ready for war.